Show, 77 WABC.
Hey everyone, the Anthony Cumia Show. Tonight we have quite a guest, Dave Landau, comedian extraordinaire. I used to work with him, and we have a lot in common, not the least of which was maybe partying a little too much back in the day. But Dave definitely beats me on that one because his book, Party of One, is full of debauchery that I couldn't imagine anyone else competing with. So stick around for that. Quickly, I want to talk about this White House Correspondents' Dinner. What a joke this is. No pun intended. This year, if you don't know what it is, every year they have this thing, and the politicians and correspondents in Washington, they show up because even they need an award show like the Oscars or the Emmys to pat themselves on the back and get a good laugh. But this year, because Donald Trump is president, he has decided that no Republicans should really go to this thing. He decided he's not going to it. No comics are going to it. This is usually a big thing. They get a popular comedian host for the show, and it's just supposed to be a fun night for the press and politicians, who are then ripping each other's guts out the rest of the year. It kind of makes the whole thing seem like professional wrestling a bit, doesn't it? A little phony. I never liked this because of that reason. I guess in the old days, perhaps it worked out a little better because, I don't know, there was a little more, not even friendship, but mutual respect and professional courtesy between the media and politics. Not all the time. I mean, obviously we've seen the media go after politicians over the course of history. But for the most part, they get together for this dumb little event and make each other laugh and talk about what's going on in the world. And it was a joke. It was kind of funny. Well, Trump decided he's not going. There's going to be no comics, no Republicans. I guess the word went out. And so now they're saying it's a pared back event. Pared back. The journalists were the stars of the evening. That's what they like to say. And boy, that's the last thing we need, isn't it? For the journalists to become the stars. Because that wasn't really supposed to be what journalism was all about. Being the star. Because with that, with the motivation to become a star, you might start shirking your responsibilities at actually being a trustworthy journalist. Well, I could lie about this, or I could beat up on this guy, and I'll be the news. Why report the news or write the news when I can be the news? And, they get an ego on them. And a lot of these so-called journalists decide that they're the stars. And this was very apparent at some of these correspondence dinners that they'd put on. They'd be roasted by the comedians. Not too crazy, though, unless, of course, they were right-wing. But the politicians were the ones that really got roasted. And it was supposed to come off as a fun event. But then the very next day, they're destroying each other, the politicians, the media. It just doesn't seem sincere, that's for sure. It's not funny these days. And Trump knows it. He knows these people slander him. They lie about him and his administration. They were complicit in trying to put him in prison. And then whenever Joe Biden was talked about in previous year's correspondence dinners, they didn't talk about him being a vegetable. His inability to perform the duties of the president because he was cognitively impaired. Maybe they make a little joke, but he'd be laughing too, a good-natured ribbing, perhaps. But then the very next day, these journalists are going on and saying, oh, he's sharp as a tack. Oh, best president ever. You couldn't get someone that works harder or is sharper than Joe Biden. So Trump decided, screw this. I'm not going. Why would I go and sit in a room with a bunch of people that are going to slander me try to destroy everything I'm doing for the country. Immigration, they can't get enough of trying to bring back criminal illegal aliens. And the media, they're in there. They're in there talking about it. Oh, we got to get this guy back. And then Trump is supposed to just laugh along with them one night. Screw that. Good. This should be a thing anyway. I don't think politicians and journalists should be chummy even for one night. They should be looking at each other with a distrusting eye, but at least printing the truth and not lying about a president or other politician because it suits the liberal agenda, and they're nothing more than the propaganda wing of the liberal left. We'll be right back with Dave Landau. His new book, Party of One, is out, and we'll be talking to him. Stick around.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show. Whipping out the First Amendment and holstering the Second.
And again, we're asking, when do you cross the line?
Back. It is Sunday. This is the Anthony Cumia Show. Welcome back. Hope you had a great week. I sure did. I'll just rub it in if you didn't. Yeah, great. Great to see the sun still up a little bit. I'm one of those guys. I am one of those guys. Late spring, early summer rolls around, and I just look outside. And what is it? 8:00 Eastern time. And it's still light out. I don't know what it is. I'm not scared of the dark, mind you. There's just something comforting. Feels like you're getting more of your day when it's lighter later. Because I am not a morning person. No. Anyone that knows me, oh boy, crack of noon is very, very early for me. And then I just pawn it off that I'm a broadcaster and I have to stay up late for a show, so I can't get up too early. Truth be told, I've always been this way, even when I was in construction. I hate getting up early. I don't know anyone that does. I don't know how this whole thing of getting up early for work even started. Some idiot in charge. There should have been someone like me in charge to go, hey, let's start our work day at 2 p.m. That sound good? And then we're done by, 8. And then you can just hang out. You're not too tired. You could still go out at night. And then you don't have to go, I got to get up so early. How did this happen? Anywho, I do enjoy that. I didn't get much sleep last night. Personal note, I got a dog yesterday. Yesterday was my birthday. At my age, we don't talk about birthdays anymore. It is really, I can't stand when people do that. Oh, it's your birthday. Yeah. Thanks. Another reminder that the earth flew around the sun one more time, and it's one less time that I have here. So I'm not a big birthday guy. It was just coincidental. We got to pick up our dog yesterday, drove from South Carolina, Greenville, up to North Carolina. Not much of a difference politically, geographically. Good thing is, though, I'm able to take my gun. You never know. It's always nice to be armed, be an armed citizen. I don't like having to go to states where I cannot exercise my right to protect myself with the greatest tool available, a weapon, a gun. So went up there and picked up our little Belgian Malinois. And a lot of people were warning me about these dogs. I'd done the research. They're army dogs. Like, this is the dog. There's a great bit by Shane Gillis, and he talks about when Trump had to announce the dispatching of a terrorist few years back. I think it was during his first term. And Shane is so good at it. He does a great Trump impression. And he was like, he was crying. The dogs came in. He was crying because of the dogs. Like, those dogs are Belgian Malinois. They're meat missiles, they call them. Fur torpedoes. When you see a cop, sometimes they let the dog out of the back of their car to get a perp that's on the run. You just see these things shoot out of the car, and they're on the guy in seconds. But it takes a lot of training. And I have the time and resources and property now to do something like that. But it's a puppy. And if anybody out there has had a puppy, especially day one, they're a little anxious about their surroundings. You try to crate train them. Back when I was growing up, there was no such thing as crate training. Your dad brought home a dog. He put him on the floor in the living room. You all went and pet him and made sure the food and water was out, and you owned a dog. That was how it went. You'd wake up in the morning, something would be chewed up. He sleeps wherever he wants, on your bed, maybe under the bed, in the washroom. Now, you got to train these dogs and you have to crate train them. So at night, they can't just mosey around the house. They might dip into your scotch. They might try to cook something and burn the house down. So you got to put them in their crate. And when you do this, when they're puppies, the first few times you take them home, oh boy, 5 a.m. Yeah. Sorry if you had your radio up loud. But that's what was all night. And I put in my Apple, my earbuds, and it has noise canceling. For that dog, nope. It must be a frequency that even Apple said, screw it. We just can't figure out how to cover this up. The wife, the TV, the washing machine going on. You don't even hear it. A whining puppy. You hear that, but it's great. I love the little guy already. He's got, we also have a cat. So it's like a goddamn Warner Brothers cartoon around here. The cat just wants nothing to do with it, but it's an adventure. It's another one of those things you just do. Take him outside. He's running around. He's adorably cute. I got a nice heads up from Curtis Lewa. He texted me and was like, dude, animals they never judge you. They don't look down on you. It's just you and him, and it's great. And I appreciate the hell out of that, Curtis. And it's such a truth. I've been an animal guy my entire life. Just adore animals, pets, wild animals. Early on, I didn't care much about what zoos or SeaWorld did. My opinion on the whole thing was, who cares? Hey, I can't see a killer whale in the wild. Let me go to SeaWorld. And I could see one there. And then as I got older, I started really realizing like, oh God, this is terrible. Terrible. There are certain circumstances I get, like certain animal parks here in America. Look, not many of us are going to get to Africa. Some of these animals were abused and they were on the brink of being poached out of existence. So it's kind of cool that we set up something, but it's got to be a very natural habitat. And I know they can never replicate what wild animals get in their actual natural habitat, but some of them seem pretty happy out there. I've been to a few of these places where it doesn't seem that bad. Look, I don't know. Maybe the animal hates it. Maybe he loves it. Maybe he loves the fact that he's not being jumped on by something and having his bowels ripped out. So who knows? But, for me, it's like, I've always had that feeling like circuses. I hate circuses. Always have ever since I was a kid. But the idea of the poor elephants having to get up on that little dumb stool while some dweeb snaps a whip at him. I love when the animal wins every so often. Is it just a treat when you watch a video, especially now, I mean, we get videos from everywhere doing everything. And sometimes you'll just see these guys in India and they're cracking a whip or hitting an elephant in the side of the head with a 2x4. And the elephant just at one point goes, nope, no more of this. And the trouncing an elephant can give someone. You never thought they'd be so fast and have the ability to swing their head and feet around enough to stomp on some dumb Indian guy that decided he was going to try to crack this thing over his head. And I love it. I can't be happier when I see an animal win. The tiger in the cage, Siegfried and Roy. I didn't care. How long did those two poofters, if I may use the English phrase, smack animals around? Giant wild cats love huge stage lights and smoke machines and loud music and two Marys cracking whips in their faces. Oh, they adore that. Right up until they rip your neck off and you end up dire for the rest of your life. So, yeah, I'm one of those guys. I just love when the animals prevail. And I've said it before. With all the videos of cruelty and terribleness that we watch on our phones every day, I can watch people. I can watch people perform cruelties upon other people. It's not good. I don't think it's really good for us mentally. But I can watch that. You go like, oof, wow, that was brutal. I cannot watch an animal be hurt on video. And, you know, I'm not a vegetarian. I enjoy a good piece of steak or some chicken. But even then, I don't like watching the process. I would much rather watch an Apache helicopter take out a crowd of people on the ground than watch chickens or cattle be slaughtered. So, yeah, I like animals. Is that wrong? Is that so wrong? So I want to thank Curtis for his nice words, and I apologize if I seem a little sleepy. I cover up for it really well, though. When the job calls, I'm on the job. We have Mr. Dave Landau, my friend, comedian extraordinaire, used to be my co-host. He's coming up at about 8:30. Stick around. We, of course, have Clown of the Week next. And fake news coming up. So stick around for more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
This it's the Anthony Cumia Show.
How you doing, everybody? Hope you're doing well this Sunday evening. Anthony Cumia Show. And we got to, of course, one of my favorite segments every week because it's so difficult. I toil over picking who the hell this could be after a week's worth of research. It's Clown of the Week.
The Anthony Cumia Show presents the Clown of the Week.
Yes, and again, just such a chore, such a difficult task for me. And you know, the usual suspects keep getting in the lead. And then by Sunday, I go, I hate having to do this. I hate having to recrown people once, twice, 3 times, maybe. I don't know. But this clown, I believe, is a former winner of Clown of the Week. Could be a contender. Seems to be a contender every week. Once again, Liz Warren. Liz Warren is a clown. And I'm talking the big wig, the red nose, the makeup, the big clown shoes. This woman personifies a clown. The only thing is, some of the stuff isn't really funny. it's dangerous. Even her, she can be dangerous. Her words are dangerous. She lies. She smears people. She'll do anything to perpetuate this lifelong career that I'm sure she'll end up just like Pelosi, 90 years old. She already sounds terrible. That voice of hers. Liz Warren's voice could be weaponized. The military should do something about that, where you fire this audio thing off the top of an Abrams tank and it's just, and I think what we ought to do. And people just go, no, we give up. We give, uncle. She's terrible. And she's constantly crying about the billionaires. Trump only cares about the billionaires. There's 902 billionaires in the country. 902. I think he's paying attention to a few more people than just 902 people. But she's a millionaire, this woman. They all end up being millionaires. They somehow turn a job that is, I don't know, about a couple $100,000 into a multi-million-dollar career. I don't know how that works. I know there are plenty of people that make what a senator makes and can't even keep food on the table. You know, you have a family. Maybe you live in a place like New York or D.C. or anywhere in California with the taxes. And even a salary that seems, wow, that's pretty good. $150,000, $200,000 a year. Yeah. You got a family. You own a house, cars, things like that. That's, it's not a lot of money. So somehow they figured out a way not only to support themselves, but to turn that into millions. In people like Pelosi's case, hundreds of millions of dollars, and no one questions it. That's the big mystery. No one wants to say, hey, how the hell did you get $200 million on that job? Oh, investments? Don't you know about what's going to happen in certain sectors and industries? Can we look at that? Oh, yeah, we can, by the way, because it's not illegal. Nancy Pelosi most recently made news because she invested in NVIDIA. You know, gaming people know it for graphics cards. Other people know it that it's great for crypto mining and whatnot. But, yeah, she knew that the government was going to make some type of decision, or that NVIDIA had to ask the government for certain permissions. And all of a sudden she makes bank on that stock. And no one goes, huh? What? They're all getting on Trump's ass about the market going down because of the tariffs. And then Trump going to buy the dip. Not thinking like, yeah, that's what we do. He wasn't telling people anything specific. Hey, look at NVIDIA. Look at that. It's going to go up. You wouldn't tell anybody anything they didn't know. And they want to crucify him for some kind of insider trading. So, once again, just lies. But Liz Warren is the clown of the week. Here she is getting called out, exquisitely, for her support of Joe Biden, even though we knew he was mentally damaged. Watch this. Listen. Or watch, whatever you want to do. I'm still so stuck on a video thing. It's radio, Anthony. Listen to this.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't. At that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I love it. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, that's all we get? We don't get it. Oh, my God, throw yourself at the mercy of the American people you lied to. We don't get that. We get fair enough. Fair enough. You didn't see a decline? Are you out of your mind? We didn't even need to see a decline. Rational people didn't need to see a decline. We saw from the get-go when he was campaigning from his basement that this guy was mentally impaired and in no way capable of being the president of the United States. And this guy, and God bless whoever that is, asks her a question she has never had to deal with. And she just goes, hamna, Ed Norton. She didn't know what she could possibly say to get out of the jam she was in right there. I didn't see, he was sharp when I talked to him. And then, like she said, I never noticed a decline. We did. We saw it. You tell me, was it right up until the disastrous debate where the media was lying about his mental acuity? Every politician was. Liz Warren was. Was it right up till that point that you really thought he was fine? And then right after, you're all clamoring to get someone new in there? Does that sound reasonable? You clown. But I love that they're being faced with this. They can't use the same garbage that they've been using for so long now. They've just been spewing this nonsense out, lies. The media covers them for it, and they go along their merry way. Here's the problem. They realize that the mainstream media isn't it anymore. They know they have to do shows like, I don't even know who this guy's show was, and he seemed like a real liberal. He seemed a little, if you know what I mean. But it wasn't mainstream media. So they know they have to go on these alternative media shows, podcasts. You know, they saw what it did for Trump when he went on Rogan and all these other shows. So they're like, well, I guess I gotta go on one of those shows and talk about Donald Trump. And then they get on and they're shocked. They're sitting there going, wait, why is this guy asking me this question? I don't have an answer for this. He's making me look stupid. He's making me look like a liar. Yes, because you're stupid and you're a liar. So they know they have a problem. They can't keep going on MSNBC and CNN and the multitude of other propaganda machines that have supported them for forever. And they see how Republicans, J.D. Vance going on podcasts, they do very well. Elon, he's gone on Rogan's show. They do very well. They seem like they're personable, like they're human beings. Whether you like them or not, whether they're fallible, because humans are fallible, they at least come off as human beings. But this woman and the rest of these Democrats, I'll play a clip a little later of Adam Schiff that's just bizarre. But they honestly believe that what they're saying will be taken as gospel just because they're saying it, because they're so used to mainstream media just coddling them and making sure everything is awesome and no one hurts them. But truth be told, it's all out there now, and they have a tough time trying to figure out how to skirt the alternative media. So Clown of the Week, Liz Warren, we salute you. We'll be back in moments with Dave Landau on the Anthony Cumia Show.
Gracie Mansion and 77 WABC. Both are real New York. WABC. Whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you for tuning in, because you tune a radio, right? My guest tonight is a dear friend. We worked together. He was my co-host back on the Compound Media days. He hosts a show on Blaze TV, Normal World, and he's got a new book out, Party of One, that is insane. It's like this, you shouldn't confess this much. This could probably get you put away. Statute of limitations be damned. But it's a very entertaining read, and it'll make you feel like you weren't all that bad growing up. Mr. Dave Landau. Dave, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Great. Apparently they found it in their infinite wisdom to give me another radio show.
I'm as shocked as you are. I'm trying to figure out what I can't say.
Well, it's the old George Carlin bit for the most part, you know.
Good.
Those 7 dirty words, but they've gotten pretty relaxed. I'm one of the more conservative people as far as what I say on the air than a lot of other people, because they'll say things and I'll be like, ooh, could you say that on the radio? I'm thinking way back when I was on FM radio, but enough about me, Dave. How are you? How have you been? I know you're, where are you living now? Are you down in Texas?
I am in Texas. Yeah, I still have my place in Detroit, but I live in Dallas. It's very mediocre.
Well, first of all, Dave, your place in Detroit, I've just been, squatters live there now, Dave. There's,
is that right?
Yeah, you were out for, I think, 2 hours as I'm reading it here, and squatters have moved in and you can never, ever, ever get back in.
That is the law. It's their home. It's the Wild West here. It can just be 2 pit bulls and they'll let them keep the house.
Oh, pit bulls can. They just look at you. They shut the door. The cops go, there's nothing we could do about it. I'm sorry, sir. You've lost your residence. Wow. So how often do you get back to the Big D?
I go back pretty often. I do. It's weird to answer that question like that all the time. I visit the Big D as much as possible. I call it San Francisco.
Yes, and the Big D. Yeah. Oh my God.
My favorite nightclub. I go back pretty often. I go back, then I just saw you got a dog though.
Yeah.
I know I want to talk about this, but I saw it.
A Belgian Malinois. Yeah, they're amazing dogs. They're crazy. They're like a lot of fun though. He's got those needle teeth at this point, so he's scratching and biting into my hands. I think I'm going to have to stop taking my blood thinners. I can't have this dog puncturing my hands for the love of God. Yeah, he's great though. He's crazy. He's great though. Like a dog is, it's a commitment. Like I am, me, Dave. You've lived with me at one point during COVID. I am not Mr. Commitment. I just am not that guy. So a dog is a big commitment. Cats, you could just leave them alone for a week, put enough food and water out. You're going to come home to a very smelly house, but they'll be fine. A dog he'll take your car out and go to bars and pick people up. You gotta watch a dog constantly.
Yeah, dogs they're a chore. I have 2. I love them. They're the best. But I remember Beavis. Beavis would just sit there.
Yes.
Like, I think I shared a room with Beavis briefly.
Yes.
And, it was good times. But Beavis had a little dog in him. He was a little, mischievous, if you will.
Yeah, Bee was a very unique cat, and everyone says that, but he passed away like a year and something ago, so he's
I have
a bonanima.
I know, R.I.P. I have a Cavapoo still, so I look very manly walking it down the street.
Ooh, what the hell? Any poo dogs, any breed. You could say I have a pit poo. I have a pit poo. And it's like, the pit part just goes away. The poo part will overwhelm any pit part. That's kind of it's gay? It's the word I'm looking for,
that's
Dave.
The way, yeah. I have a doodle whiler. They're the worst. Yeah, I mean, he's the best dog. I love him. But anything that they've made, they've just decided to add poo to it. And then I have to hear people on the left say, like, dogs should be left in the wild. I'm like, what is this thing going to do in the wild?
Yeah,
like hair and makeup. But like, it looks like Whoopi Goldberg in Jumping Jack Flash, just real tiny.
It's in their nature to find a porcupine to brush their coat with. There's no way an animal like that would live for a second out in the wild. I don't trust, like, Belgians are really stout dogs. Once they grow up, there's not many other things that could hurt it out in the wild, even here in South Carolina. Maybe a bear. I don't know. It could probably scare bears away. But as puppies, like, I'm afraid to let them out of my sight in the backyard. It borders on the woods back there, and, you know, God knows what's in there, monsters. So, it's this period of time where you got to kind of be chill and watch after the little guy.
Oh, especially when they're young. I mean, I had a Rottweiler for years, and it would chase after squirrels. She would always be jumping after squirrels, and I thought, she's never actually catching them. And then one day I just was cutting the lawn, and I went behind the house, and there's just like a pile of dead bodies, just dead squirrel bodies with broken necks. Like, she was killing them and collecting them and just left them in a pile all winter. So, like, they will get into everything.
Squirrel holocaust in the backyard. That's terrible. But that's what they do. All right, enough about our wonderful animals. Mine, very masculine and manly. Yours, gay.
Very.
Your book, Dave. I've been perusing this, if I may speak like I actually read, perusing your book.
Thank you.
And I've heard stories from you. We would do breaks on our youth, and yours were very unique because I couldn't put together how those stories happened and how you were still sitting in front of me, a living human being, either not dead or in prison. And the start of the book is amazing. Like, it hooks you right away. You're talking about, your buddy and the fact that you were drunk at what? 12, 13?
14 was the real drunk one. Yeah, where basically our parents had to stage an intervention after the first time we drank or got drunk. Not tried alcohol, but I mean really got hammered.
Right. God, I can never understand that. I would assume that after you get drunk the first time, or even the first couple of times very young, and I used to talk to Jimmy Norton about this all the time because he stopped drinking at a very young age. I believe it was 17 or 18.
Yes, he never got into anything else, so bless him.
Yeah, as opposed to Dave Landau. The odd thing is, though, you think after you get a little older, like, well, maybe I'm mature enough or old enough to handle it now. What do you think about that logic?
I've thought about it. I just don't think I can. It's because everything I try, I don't have that valve that shuts off.
Right.
I wanted to, and
it's called being an addict, Dave. That's an addict. Correct. They have a word for it.
That's what they tell me. I think that's the main reason I'm not in prison, is because a lot of it was done when I was a juvenile.
Right.
And I did have to look up some limitation laws when I wrote this. I actually started writing it in your house 5 years ago because I wanted to write.
By the way, I had to start looking up some limitation things too when I wrote my book.
I bet.
See, he's admitting it.
Hey, look at him. Benny Mardonia's over here. I do have that urge where I wonder, especially now because everything's legal. It's crazy to me when you look at something like, okay, you can take ketamine now, or you can, have you ever tried microdosing mushrooms? Like, no, I've tried taking.
Oh yeah, just yesterday. I just did that. What are you, out of your mind? Of course not.
Well, and they're like, it's used to treat depression. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was using it for in 1998.
So is a Smith & Wesson 38. It doesn't mean I want to use it.
What's odd is I could have gotten both on the same street.
No doubt.
Yeah.
In the Big D. And get the Big D.
And get the Big D all in one house. Just pull up and go, do you have the cure for depression in there?
Yeah.
All of it.
Everything, right. But it's being so young. What was it that kind of got you into doing drugs so young? I grew up in the suburbs of Long Island, and it was such a taboo. Like, my parents would tell me, don't do drugs. In school, it was don't do drugs. And it seemed a very scary thing. I didn't look at it like in the 80s where kids would go, oh, really? Just say no. Yeah, blow it out your ass. It just made me like, yeah, I don't want to do this. It seems dangerous. It seems like I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to fall in with that crowd. What brought you to doing and pretty hardcore stuff at such a young age?
Well, I mean, two things. One, they did a really bad job with like Dare and Rough McGruff or Scruff McGruff, whatever the hell his name was.
I can't even remember his name. Never mind what he was telling you.
Yeah. Well,
what? Eat your veggies? What? No, that was Hulk.
Yeah. He wore a trench coat like a flasher. Yeah. So it's just, there's nothing. And Barbara Bush was the one who was telling you to just say no, and who didn't want to be just like Barbara Bush. So when I got older, my dad got sick from Agent Orange in Vietnam, and the VA was very helpful. They gave us absolutely nothing. Oh. So he had to pay out of pocket for brain surgery, and he had to go around the country, start having that happening. I was getting watched by like babysitters, and my grandma, my grandma and I had a lot in common, like her Vicodin and morphine patches. She was usually so zonked out, you could just throw a party around her.
Turn her on to some microdosing mushrooms. You train.
Yeah, she would say, "Did you take my pills?" I'm like, "No, go back to bed." So then I take more of her pills. She was insane, though. She also had this like big old mansion that was rotted out, and she had a casino in the basement, and that's where I first learned to make drinks. It was out of
like
out
little
of a
spider,
book.
Little spider.
Yeah, like a little
Goodfellas.
Yeah, she used to shoot at my feet and make me dance. It was, but yeah, when that started happening, like a depression kicked in and an anxiety, and I just, you always start with alcohol, which obviously in my book, as you can see, went really well.
You know what's strange though about that? Like, alcohol does work for anxiety and depression. It really does, but then it doesn't. If they could figure out a drug that was like when you first start drinking that night, and your anxiety and inhibitions go away, and it doesn't end in a crash where you're now more anxious and depressed, and then a hangover where you're physically and mentally screwed up. What a time that would be. But, it works right up till it doesn't.
Right. Well, there's a good 15-minute, 20-minute, maybe an hour window of when it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
you do everything better. You play darts better. You play foosball better in the bar. There's just this place, this zone where after a few drinks, you are better than you were.
Yes, you become the champion of a women's pool league. It all works out, but you do. You become you're confident. Women are talking to you, and then there's that moment where you have too much, and now there's charges.
Yeah,
and there's it just changes so fast. But the only way that you seem to think, like, I know how I can keep this buzz on, and for me, it's just pounding shot after shot and beer after beer to assume I'd be fine. But that just brings me into Brownout Dave, who's really mean, and then Blackout Dave.
How do you know what Brownout Dave's like?
You know, but only because people have told me where they're like, you should call this guy. You need to call him and apologize. I've heard that so many times.
Isn't that great that only other people could tell you what you're like in a brownout and a blackout? That's terrible. I'd like to see me in that, but I guess that can't happen.
Dude, I had to interview people for the book like it was a cold case just to make sure I had all the right information.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really, and so many people had done it too. Everybody's been there, but I guess the difference is I was there almost every night.
Oof.
And that's just terrible for your brain, I'm told.
Yeah, I'm told. Yeah, it is a thing that, like, it's kind of a rite of passage or a natural thing for any kid, especially a guy. You're in your mid to late teens. That's what you do. And then you get hammered drunk, you black out, you feel like garbage. And you go like, maybe next time. Like you kind of learn from it. Not immediately, believe me. You could go quite a few years doing this, but there does seem to be this point where most people anyway can go, that's not good. That's not a good level of drunk to be. And you just did not have that.
No, I took 13 arrests, and then finally
13.
At the age 13, 12, most as a minor, and then 27. When I was 27, I got my 13th, and that's when they were really gonna throw the book at me, and I really clean up.
And how old were you then?
27. So I mean, I went hard for 13 years.
That's kind of you went really hard. Like, but the time wise, it's not that out of the ordinary, but you fit like a lifetime of screwing up and drinking into 27 years.
Yes, I have CTE from car accidents caused by drinking.
The worst stories I ever heard were your driving stories, because correct me if I'm wrong here. The day you got your license, you got into an accident drunk.
That's correct.
That's correct, sir. That's correct, Your Honor. But I cleaned up my act. I have a job, and I.
Well, this is also 1998, so I got the astonishing punishment of 6 months with the suspended license.
The 90s truly were the greatest decade. Ever, where they're just like, you come back in 6 months after you've learned your lesson from getting in a high-speed chase and smashing into a tree. We had my whole family over. It was a family reunion. Everybody went out to dinner. We decided to, have our, my cousins and I snuck out. I took my dad's car without asking, and we went down to the ghetto. We bought beer, all that stuff. And then we're driving around drinking, going to parties. And I was giving lawn jobs, which is not sexual. Yeah. It's just, break torquing on donuts, like Paulie Walnuts did to Chrissy in The Sopranos. Sure.
Yes, like Paulie Walnuts, and it's why I drive Paulie's car now. The Eldorado.
A big Eldorado. Do you really drive a big Eldorado?
I have the exact same car as Paulie Walnuts.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But that probably came from all your memories and being like, I just want as much metal around me as possible.
That's what it is. I want a car.
There might be a little Dave Landau driving down the street, and he might hit me. Wow, dude.
That's exactly it. But yeah, I had to buy it. I mean, it was, I'm like, it's a perfect car. It's in some old dude's garage. I bought it basically off of Paulie Walnuts. This is old Italian guy. I love it. But
now it's weird. It's strange because you aren't into any of the tech of the new cars or anything. You like the old push-in cigarette lighter and the brights on the floor, the little nub on the floor.
Dude, I love it. I hate the nuisance. I hate that auto stop that actually I think is worse for pollution.
I hate it. That's the worst thing in a car. When Missy's driving and I'm in the passenger seat, it'll stop at the light and I look over at her. She gets mad at me for getting mad at her for not having shut it off. It's like a pilot not closing the canopy when he gets into his fighter. It should be second nature. Hit that goddamn button. I hate it. It shuts your car off at a light.
Yes, for no reason. And really what puts out more exhaust is stopping and starting a car.
Restarting it, right. And it's killing your starter motor. I used to have starter motors go out on me when I would just manually start it once when I left, and then that was it. When I left again, I'd start. Imagine 50 times a day. You see these Uber drivers use it. I want to smack him in his turban.
You just want to hit him until his earbuds fall out.
What are you? Yeah, well, he's making some horrible, nefarious plans with a friend. Excuse me? They don't even say like, no, I'm talking on the phone. They just continue and you realize, oh, I don't understand this language and it's probably really, really bad.
They just say no English and just keep.
Yeah. They just keep driving. I don't care. Dave, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back with more of Dave Landau, his book Party One, available everywhere. And he does host Normal World on Blaze TV. Back with Dave in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Welcome back. Anthony Cumia Show on this fine Sunday evening with the amazingly funny Dave Landau. Dave's book Party One is out right now. So you started writing this when we were sequestered during COVID, Dave?
I did. I started writing it upstairs when you were playing some video games. I remember that.
Yes, I would scream horrible things and horrible words. I still do, for that matter.
It honestly reminded me of when I was a kid and my dad's friend was having Nam flashback.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, it was good. It reminded me of home. I didn't mind it at all. My dad had them. But yeah, I was trying to figure out how to write this book, and I put it together about 5 years ago. And the reason why I didn't release it yet is, what's in it. I wanted to, I'm putting everything that I've ever done from a certain point in my life onto paper and then sharing it with the world. And I did want to actually ask people like, hey, are you okay with this?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. No, that's pretty cool. Not only
I can tell by his tweets.
Yeah. Not only cool, but legally sound. You want to do that. But you were doing some insane stuff. And aside from the youthful indiscretions with drinking and driving and stuff, you have some obviously a lot in there about dealing with depression, dealing with your dad passing away the way he did, and then getting into comedy. Like, that's a pretty interesting transition of life.
It is, after 5 years of high school and failing and then going on to do that. It really was beneficial to me. And when we couldn't get on stage then because that whole pandemic happened, and just staying with you, I just was like, all right, I'll just hang out and do this. And we were going over so many old stories, and I just decided to write them down. So yeah, I'm glad I got it out. It's cathartic, and then there can be more, chapter 2, where I guess, the college years of my Saved by the Bell little book here, but I was happy to get it out, and it's been very positively received, which is cool.
Yeah. And you're gigging, you're out there all the time. I see you're doing live shows, and I see clips all the time on social media. And goddamn, Dave, you are a funny guy. You're a funny guy. It's it really is so fun to watch people not see what's coming, and you're like a king of that. And
thank you.
Really, really fun. I always liked when we did a couple of gigs together. I was talking about the first time you were my co-host, and I knew you. I knew you were a comic. You'd been on my show quite a few times, and were very good and very funny. But I had never seen your stand up, and yes. We went to a gig. And Governors out on Long Island. And right when I'm sitting there and you're ready to come on, it hit me. I go, oh my God, no, what if he sucks? I had never seen your stand up. And then I'm just thinking, like, I have this guy as a co-host. I'm talking about how funny he is. We laugh every day on the show. And then you're just terrible on stage. But thank goodness that didn't come to pass, Dave. I was very, very impressed with your comedy.
I'm just up there playing a toaster like Haywood Banks.
Yeah. Yeah. If you would have brought out a guitar or a box of props, I'd have just left. I'd have just walked away in shame.
I could hear a Jaguar start.
Whoa, what is that? What?
It's so weird.
Anthony must be in the bathroom. I don't see him out in the crowd anymore.
Strange. He's been in there a while. I hope he's all right. I hope there's not a blockage. Because I've done that too when I've had to go see people live, and it's like some of their first times, and it's like, don't invite people your first time.
No.
They're just going to look at you and always remember you for how awful you were. And then it's like a first impression. You can never correct that.
You're not correcting that. I'm not going to just stick with you going to gigs until you get better. What am I, so yeah.
I'm not your manager. You're a spiritual manager.
One of the greatest situations like that happened was with Stuttering John when I saw him at Governor's out on Long Island. And, he goes, yeah, well, what'd you think? I'm like, oh, great. And then the next day I did my show and I go, I've never got an easier parking spot than that night. I parked right by the front door of Governor, and he got so pissed at me. But
there's a parking lot attendant outside handing out tens.
Yeah. Dave, we are going to have to wrap it up here, but obviously I'd love to have you back. You're the host over there at Normal World on Blaze TV.
Yes, sir.
Your book, Party of One, is available everywhere. Dude, I consider you a dear friend. You're very funny, and I will get my ass down to Texas one of these days, and I'd love to do the show.
Dude, I want you on the show very badly. I'd love to come sit with you in New York. You're one of my good friends, and I really appreciate you, man. I'm glad you're back on the radio.
Yes, so am I, amazingly enough. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, Dave.
Friend. All right.
The great Dave Landau will be back in a matter of moments with the
Whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. 77 WABC.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Story here out of Colorado Springs. Illegal alien club busted. In Colorado Springs. Drugs, prostitutes, about 200 illegal aliens, guns. So the DEA went in there and gang units and all the law enforcement they apparently need to take this down. So they go into this place and bust it up. And they also find, what was it, about a dozen active duty U.S. military were doing security and being patrons of this illegal nightclub. They had TDA and MS-13 gang members. Do they party together? They said they arrested people from TDA and MS-13. I don't know if they hang out like superheroes, the Hall of Justice. I don't think so. But who am I to say? Who knows what goes on these days? So Colorado, the DEA says, has become ground zero for violent, illegal alien gangs. How did that happen? You know, you can kind of get New York, right? LA, a lot of gangs come up from Mexico and Florida. You know, there was that whole Coke thing back in the 80s, I believe. And Colorado, and then Colorado Springs. Well, it's easy to figure out how this happens when you look at the politics of Colorado. It's a blue state. They have a few governors, a few local mayors and people that are Republican, conservative, what have you. But the state itself is a disaster. And anytime anyone has tried to do anything about these illegal gangs, they get stopped from doing it. You remember very recently we had that episode where TDA, I say TDA because that gang is just Tre de Agua. I can't do it. TDA. They were taking over apartment complexes. Yeah, apartment complexes. And then moving in a bunch of gang members, and whoever was left in the apartment building, they would collect rent on them. Totally, threatening, I guess, the actual landlord, the owner of the apartment complex. We saw security footage from inside these places where these gang members are walking around with rifles. And they're dealing drugs, prostitutes, human trafficking, all the great stuff that the Democrats say isn't happening. And that's what they do. They get on the news, and when this comes up, they go, oh, please. Oh, that's not more racist tropes, more lies from the racist right, giving them an excuse to deport loving fathers from their families. Oh, yeah, that must be it. That's it. It couldn't possibly be that they let millions upon millions of illegals stream over the border. And they've made their way to places that traditionally you would think were pretty nice places to live. Colorado Springs, I don't know. I've been to Colorado a few times. Looked pretty nice. I don't remember going, oh, this looks like a real gang magnet, this place. So they don't understand this is happening. And when Trump comes in and Republicans try to put a stop to this, they make the DEA a lot more aggressive when it comes to illegals and drug trafficking, human trafficking. All they can do is sit back and say what a lie it is. And again, the media just piles on with the Democrats and goes, yep, more horrors are around the corner for foreigners, for immigrants, they call them. Not illegal. More immigrants, more America. It could be you. Could be you next week getting dragged away by ICE. No, I don't think so. They're lying to you, per usual. The military guys, a dozen or so military, active duty U.S. military involved, doing security for this thing. And this says there's a problem in the military. And Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, has talked about things like this and the return of discipline. He signed a bill loosely titled the No More Walking on Eggshells policy. And it's situations like this where you couldn't do anything because you'd be deemed racist. I'm sure most of all of the active member U.S. military guys were of Hispanic descent. I guarantee it. And if you say, hey, I think they're doing security at an illegal bar, club, you know, the guy would be called a racist and probably lose his position and career in the military. So hopefully that does something. We'll be back in moments with fake news. Who gets the title of having the fakest fake news? Anthony Cumia Show.
Since October 7th. Whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Anthony Cumia Show. I want to thank, of course, Dave Landau. Could have done like 2 hours with that guy. Gonna have to have him back. That's for sure. Love Dave. Next month, by the way, a little tidbit for you. Next month, May 25th, I will return to New York City to do the show live from the studios of New York City up there. Again, Jim Norton and Rich Voss will join me on the show live in studio May 25th. Definitely looking forward to that one. Talk about busting balls. That's going to be a good one. The phone number here. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Anything you want to talk about that we've talked about just earlier in the show, or you just got something you want to say, feel free. Before we go to the phones, though, I definitely want to talk about, this is kind of embarrassing, Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. She's hot, you know. He's a successful, wealthy guy in the twilight years of his life. And who am I? Who am I to throw stones here? You know, a lot of people, they bring up that fact, you know, Anthony, why would you say anything about Bill when he's going out with this 24-year-old and he's 73 and, I don't know. It just seems a little weird. Is that strange coming from me? Maybe. But, he did an interview. This is where it gets bad. Like, you want to do this? You want to be 73 and go out with a 24-year-old girl? I mean, feel free. Go for it, whatever. Maybe the paparazzi sneaks a picture of you two. If you're asked questions and you go, yeah, enough, move on, whatever. But Bill is doing an interview. I guess it was sports related, football related. And, of course, the interviewer has to bring up his 24-year-old girlfriend. By the way, she's sitting a mere few feet away from Bill and the guy doing the interview. They're sitting on stools with microphones, you know, and she's sitting just off to the side at a desk like Yoko used to do. You watch those old Beatles films and you see all the guys trying to work on the Beatles songs, and John brings Yoko in there and the guys are just like, oh, shut up, Yoko. And it's become a thing, you know, obviously over the course of the years, where if a girl ruins something that people like, they call her Yoko. So Bill is talking to this interviewer and he asks a question about her and him, and she chimes in from the peanut gallery. She says, like, nah, we're not doing that. Listen to this. It's so pathetic and so sad.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on, though Hudson has recently posted about it on Instagram.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I love that. There's some great pictures of you and Jordan, where you're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. It's charming. It's a different side of you.
Charming.
What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like?
To have these different sort of photos. There's another one where you're doing, I know you're not into meditation or yoga or Pilates. You're balancing Jordan on your feet and she's doing kind of the Titanic pose.
Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms, but I honestly don't follow them.
What he does follow isn't clicks or views.
All right, that's
touchdowns.
Enough. Yeah, now they try to go back into the football interview with him, but at this point, he's been destroyed. I mean, that was brutal. First, you hear her in the background. Yeah, we're not talking about that. And, you know, a guy, especially Bill Belichick of old, you know, would have, how about you shut up? How about you clam up? This is my interview, lady. But it's just like, okay, Poopsie, I won't let them talk about you, dear. It's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. And then they're talking to him about TikTok and Instagram and social media posts. And he doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Of course not. He's 73. You think he's hip on the Instagram algorithms and what gets hits and what that even means? You had her up on your feet and she was like doing a Titanic pose. He has no idea what this guy's talking about. I don't even know how they got him to do that. And if you see the video of this, he looks a little out of sorts. I don't want to say maybe he's losing it. And I don't know football enough to know if he does a good job these days. I know back in the old days, oh my goodness, the Pats and everything. But I don't know. But when he was being asked about his amazing tween Instagram videos, something a 20-year-old girl would do, he seemed a little out of sorts. It was sad to watch. That was sad to watch. And this, I almost said it. This woman of his, this 24-year-old girlfriend, really seems to be controlling him. Guys, and especially in this situation, Bill Belichick, he's been getting stuff like, oh, this is disgusting because it's bordering on pedophilia. And he's grooming this young girl. He's a dirty old man. And then you see clips like that and go, wait, I think she's abusing him. I think she's the one that, wants the cash and the lifestyle. And she don't want to put up with that. So when the media starts asking questions, which, look, that's what you're going to get. She feels she's got to chime in. It was kind of reminiscent of, what was that the old guy and the young broad and, Anthony. No, it wasn't me, but it happens all the time. It just happens all the time. Let me take my trusty mouse here and go to Joe in the great state of New York. What's up, Joe? How you doing, Joe?
What's going on, man?
Hanging out, doing some radio.
It's Joe B.
Hey, Joe B. How you doing?
All right, man.
What you got on Belichick?
What happened?
Well, what do you got on Belichick?
What do I got on Belichick? Well, you were talking about the differences in ages and whatnot. I mean, he's got you way beat.
Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to at the beginning of the break, is that, look, we all know some of the older gentlemen, they go with younger girls. It just is. But this is one of those, it's a little weird. A little weird, Joe.
Yeah, well, it's the ultimate camel toe, that's what the older guy is looking for.
Is that really it? Well, Joe, thank you. And I see you're driving. I don't want you distracted. So I'll hang up just to keep Joe safe. That's what I'm going to do. Here's, Sean. Sean wants to talk about something a little earlier. Pearl River, New York, the MS-13 gang stuff. And, we were talking about that a little earlier in Colorado Springs. What's up, Sean?
Hi, Anthony. And I love you back on WABC. And Lionel's back. You got Jim and Dave and everybody. It's like a little Rascal reunion, and I'm loving it. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you,
I'm not
Sean.
embarrassed. Yeah. The thing with MS-13, all these different gangs, listen, they want him here. Biden is the most successful person for the establishment. 10 million illegals in here.
Yep.
Probably over 1 million of them are different kinds of hardcore criminals. But you got to remember, too, besides the murderers, the rapists.
Steve. Oh, see, sometimes I just don't know. How about Joan? We'll take a lady caller as we finish up with phones right now. Joan from Manhattan.
Hi. Yeah, hi. I was wondering, what do you know about the meeting that President Trump had in the Oval Office, I guess, with representatives from some of the big box stores that are not happy at all with his tariffs? I think somebody from Walmart was there, somebody from Target, and I think Home Depot. I don't know who else. I don't know if Amazon was there. Apparently, they're losing money. I don't know how much, but I imagine, when you go to Walmart, you go there to buy one thing usually, and you see a bunch of stuff. You say, oh, let me see, I could use some T-shirts. I'll buy some of these. I'll buy some of those. And you leave buying $100 more than you plan to spend. But if the prices are high, which I guess they are, because everything's imported that they have, really. Yeah. I'm guessing people are just not doing that. They go to buy the one thing and then they leave. So do you know anything about that meeting that they had with Trump, and what's anything been decided about that?
Interesting. No, I really haven't seen the effects of these tariffs myself. I go out, I'm not the one doing the grocery shopping or going to Walmart or anything. But I don't hear a lot of people bitching about increased prices. So if Walmart's doing it, if Target's doing it, look, these were the same people that couldn't stand Trump because, of DEI and diversity, getting pissed that they're hiring illegals. They have these diversity programs that are racist, as I see it anyway. So, let's look at who we're looking at. We're looking at a bunch of people that really don't like Trump very much. They want his policies to fail. So if they want to get together for this big meeting, I'm sure they're not going to say nice things about him. It seems to be the way things go with some of these companies that are extremely liberal. So I don't know. I haven't noticed. I've heard things that, the country itself has gotten billions of dollars because of the tariffs. I don't know. I don't think we have this need for instant gratification in this country. And I think we really have to stop, wait and see how these things affect us and wait maybe a little longer. Things like this can't be cleaned up in one day. So I don't know, Joan, is pretty much what I'm saying. I do not know what the effects of on Walmart or anything of that nature. Thank you, though, dear. She must have hung up to listen to her radio. I appreciate that. Thank you for the call, Joan. And we'll return in a matter of moments with more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Old school chili peppers. Yeah. Anthony Cumia with you. I'm with you this Sunday evening. And we can continue a little with the calls. Pamela from New Jersey talks about the judges, these terrible judges. Ugh. What's up, Pamela?
We're all saying, how could the Democrats, how could they defend the gang members? It's obvious. I mean, come on. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, these judges and all, they're getting a piece of the action. Just like the military people.
Yeah, where's that money coming from? How do they hide it? Like that's some set for someone to have to in this day and age where you got Doge and Trump isn't really taking any crap anymore to think like, I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to try to pocket some cash by breaking the law pretty much. When you see some of these judges getting arrested, it's completely legitimate. They are breaking the law. And to think there's some other judges out there going, well, I'm still making money. You'd think they'd start maybe going on the lam and heading for the safe house.
Somebody in this kind of profession told me one time, I said, how do sociopaths, they get away with so much? He goes, well, that's true. They do get away with a lot of crime and everything. But there's a point where they get so egotistical and so narcissistic that they think they can operate and who cares anymore?
Yeah.
Who cares? And that's basically what we're facing now.
Isn't that amazing? Because, Pamela, it's like the same exact mentality of a serial killer. Because that's what serial killers do. They are so narcissistic. They can kill people and they don't think they'll get caught. They taunt law enforcement while they're doing it. And you're saying that same mindset goes to some of these politicians and judges feeling like, yeah, I could do this and no one's going to stop me.
Right, exactly. That's what we're up against.
That's frightening, quite frankly. Thank you, Pamela. I appreciate your call, as we do here. How about Stephen in North Carolina? Stephen, what's up?
Hey, Anthony. So I wanted to tell you about something I saw on Facebook that kind of triggered me.
Ooh.
So it was a video of France, some sort of supermarket in France.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like France. It looks like Little Africa.
Yeah. A lot of Islamic enclaves, African enclaves in France. A lot of people that have gone to Paris say that you don't feel like you're in Paris. You don't get this experience like you'd imagine. You know, everyone's got this imagination of what it'll be like to go to Paris or even Rome, Berlin. You know, a lot of these big tourist cities in Europe are not anything like they were years ago. And people are finding that out, much to their chagrin.
It's happening everywhere, even America. Like,
yep.
You know, nobody asked us. The government just does it.
No one asked. And not only did they not ask, but as things were happening and as things got worse, we were told that this is great and it's better than it was. And diversity is our greatest strength. And we heard all this stuff.
How did we ever survive?
Yeah. How did we ever survive? Yeah. A fledgling nation building up into a great superpower. And somehow, without all the diversity and illegal immigration and all that, we somehow became a superpower. And now we need to ruin it with people that just don't seem to want to assimilate or be Americans. Yeah, Steve. I hear you, man. It's a shame, right? Yeah.
Very frustrating. Very frustrating. It feels like a crime.
It should be. I mean, and in some cases it is. I like seeing these judges being held responsible for these cases where they're harboring illegal fugitives or they're not turning them over to federal authorities when they have to. The law says they have to. And then they get arrested and you hear these liberals crying that Trump is locking up the judges. It's just more garbage. More garbage. That's Steve. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ooh. He's like, yeah, he's all depressed. Sometimes it is very, very depressing. Let's see. What time is it there? Yeah, we could fit this in. Fake news. We always love pointing out fake news. Here's some fake news.
Now.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
It's the fake news.
Fake stories.
News moment.
Oh, yeah. And again, just like Clown of the Week, it's very difficult. The contenders, they just pile up. By tomorrow, I'll have a bunch of fake news contenders. But here's host Stephanie Rule. She's from MSNBC, and she's lying about why people don't trust the media. Listen to this.
40% of Americans don't trust mainstream media. Why is that? How did we get here?
Listen, we are seeing a huge loss in trust of all of our institutions. It's the media, it's medicine, it's banking. It's a huge problem because when you think about democracy and all of these pillars, they need to stand tall. They need to stand strong. And sort of losing that trust is not by accident. It's by design. If you remember when President Trump was running the first time, Steve Bannon once said, the goal is to blow the whole thing up. And so I think that you've got mistakes made or things starting to slip while at the same time there's a concerted effort to destroy the media, because the media, the news media is, in my opinion, the last line of defense of holding power accountable, right? And you had a bit of a perfect storm, right? President Trump won and tons of people were shocked or angry or frustrated and they're tuning out. And at the same time, you have the Elon Musk media machine, because they want you to leave traditional media and they want you to go to X, which is a bastion of misinformation where there is no fact checking. It's a perfect storm.
You could axe her off there, because that pretty much sums up what she's saying. Can you believe this? The media is not trusted because Donald Trump got elected and said not to trust the media? Because Bannon said blow the whole thing up. What Bannon was obviously talking about was blowing up the lying propaganda media. There wasn't this amazingly free and open and fair, unbiased media. And then Bannon and Trump go, yeah, let's blow this up, man. Trustworthy media. No, she's trying to make it sound like people did trust the media until Trump was elected. That did not happen. People were losing trust in the media. Trump, thank God, was able to peel back some of that onion, and we saw deeper into why. and how they lie to you to try to blame Trump. He got elected so people stop trusting the media. How do you even come up with something like that? I'm glad she was interviewing Rainn Wilson, by the way, who is a known liberal. He's one of these Hollywood liberal guys. And she couldn't even get it past him. He eventually, in the clip, we don't have time for it, but he eventually in the clip goes, yeah, that doesn't sound like you're really taking responsibility for why the media is not liked. Because you lie. You lie to the American people. And they finally figured it out, and they know it, and they see it, and they don't want it anymore. Why would alternative media get more steam than traditional media if people felt they were getting what they needed from traditional media? It just does not happen that way. So another MSNBC, boy, you just can't put it past them when it comes to fake news. That MSNBC is the best. Be back in seconds. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
They were doing what they were paid to do. Shock.
The Anthony Cumia Show. One of the callers was talking about the judge situation. And, this Milwaukee judge, Hannah Dugan, I guess her name is, was arrested for obstruction. She was obstructing the federal law enforcement when it came to getting an illegal alien, or she did this numerous times, illegal aliens out, getting them arrested as they should be, processed, and tossed out of the country. They're here illegally. And for a judge to do this, that's illegal. And she was arrested for it. And again, what do these dummies on the left, what do these dummy Democrats do? They lie. They lie to you. I think there's people that are too stupid to realize they're very malleable. They're little soft brains, and politicians and these liberal jackasses that you see, they're able to convince them. They can convince these people that the Trump administration and ICE are arresting judges. Just pick a judge. I don't like that person. I don't like their ruling. Let me have them arrested. And they're actually making it sound like that, when the truth of the matter is they are breaking the law. And as the Democrats love to say, no one is above the law. They say this all the time, except for anyone doing what they want to be done, whether it's illegal or not, obviously immoral. They don't care about any type of morality or ethics. So when this judge got arrested, they all came out and talked about how Trump is arresting his political enemies. And this is ripping up the Constitution, the judicial system in this country. It's the foundation of everything. We hear this constantly, and Trump is trotting upon it and just ripping up the Constitution. Well, she broke the law. She got arrested. There was another retired judge, and they were harboring illegals in their house. Gang members in their house. They actually, when they checked one of these gang members' phones, he had photos of decapitated people on his phone. Now, you might find some provocative stuff on people's phones, but a gang member, a South American, Central American, Mexican cartel member, when they have people with their heads cut off on their phone, it's personal to them. They probably had a hand in it. But again, they just can't get it in their head that these people are dangerous criminals. And the more you say that, the more racist and xenophobic they'll call you. I don't know how. They're gang members. Just stop. They're here illegally. There's no reason that they should remain here. And we'll get back to the judge in a minute. But another thing they're bitching about, apparently ICE under Trump has thrown out children, deported young children, Americans. They were born here. They are American citizens, and Trump threw them and their mother out to go back to whatever country the mother came from. She was here illegally. So they want to say that Trump deported children. They're American citizens. They were born here. The kids can stay. The mother can't. If she wanted to, she wanted to take the kids with her. They weren't deported. They could have stayed up here with some other family members that are here legally. But they want to make it sound like, they cuffed the little kids and took their mugshots and put them on a plane to deport them. No, when you commit crimes and somehow children are involved, your child, you rob a bank, you're not going to be able to live with your kids anymore. You're going to prison. If you're thrown out of the United States, your kids aren't deported, but you got to go. If you want to live with them, you have to take them with you, which is what she decided to do. So it's not so much a deportation. Deport the mother. Oh, why would you deport a family? Well, the mother's got to go. Them's the rules. I like it. I like this whole policy of we don't care that you have kids here. We don't care that you were a father working to because you know why? They will come up with something for every single case. Every single case of an illegal in this country that the government wants to deport, some lawyer, some judge, some activist will come up with some sob story to make it sound like they are the greatest people that have ever been in this country. He was a great dad, the Maryland guy. Then they ship him down to El Salvador. Apparently he did something down there that involves going to prison. So, it's one of those situations where I don't care. You're here illegally. You got to go. And if your kids are here legally and you're illegal, take them with you or let them grow up here in America without you. Can't do both. Sorry, can't do both. So here's a quick sound clip of this situation. I think this is from CNN. Milwaukee Judge Hannah Dugan arrested for obstruction. And just listen to the language. They really they try to make this sound like, and it's supposed to be the news, right? They want to make it sound like something bad was going on here as far as arresting this judge. Like she was arrested without due process or what have you. So listen to some of this.
FBI Director Kash Patel says a U.S. judge has been arrested for obstructing an immigration operation. Let's go live right now to our senior crime and justice correspondent, Caitlin Pola. It's pretty dramatic. What are you learning, Caitlin?
Truly, Wolf, this is something that we have certainly not seen before, but appears to be part of this aggressive approach the Trump administration has toward immigration. What the FBI Director Kash Patel announced in a social media post just a few minutes ago this morning is that just now, the FBI arrested Judge Hannah Dugan out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on charges of obstruction after evidence of Judge Dugan obstructing an immigration arrest operation last week. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse. Eduardo Flores Ruiz is the name that the FBI director puts out there about that subject, allowing the subject to evade arrest. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since. But the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public. So that's the FBI director laying out this apparent story and the developments this morning, Wolf, of what is happening with this arrest. We have reached out to the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, which is where the judge sits, Judge Hannah Dugan. They have not responded yet, and there isn't any publicly available information in the court record about this, but it would be a startling startling development if this judge was arrested as she was working on the bench as a judge handling an immigration case or a case of a person that ICE was also interested in. Wolf?
Yeah, very
startling. Like they use words like that. And by the way, they never say illegal immigration. ICE's illegal immigration policies and laws and rules, and they never say that. It's always just immigration because they want to put this out to the American people like they're just throwing out people that came here from another country legally. They never say illegal. And it's startling. What's startling about it? Startling is a judge not giving up a criminal to the federal authorities. That's startling. And then he goes out, literally runs out the back door of the courtroom with this woman's, hey, there you go, take it easy. Is it out of the realm of possibility that this guy could have done a serious crime or killed somebody? How would that have played out? Would this judge just be arrested for obstruction, or would she have been arrested for murder? Having some involvement in the murder of somebody or assault or any other crime that this guy may have committed when he was out. Did she give that any thought? Of course not. Do any of these idiots give it any thought? Nope. They just look and they see a name and it's Hispanic and they go, racists. We don't have borders. We shouldn't have borders, man. America's open to everyone. That's what it should be. We're a melting pot of this and that, and shut up. Wrong. I mean, it goes from when they first start out getting to their extreme, but like they're at an extreme level now. They're protecting convicted gang members. That's who they want in this country. And when it starts, it's like, I don't know, this person came here for asylum and you're saying they don't have any right to it, but they seem to be a potential political prisoner where they came from. And people go, I'll think about that. Yeah. This person is being persecuted by the government in place and they want to come here for some type of amnesty or sanctuary. Yeah, we could do that. And that's reasonable. But every goddamn thing liberals do that's reasonable, in no time at all, it will turn into something so ludicrous, so ridiculous. And they try to keep the same, like they'll insult you and call you a racist. If you would have said that person that needed sanctuary years ago, no, screw them. They're not American citizens. I don't want them. They go, wow, you are really a piece of garbage. That person needs help and what have you. And then they carry that same thing over to these criminals, these gang members, violent gang members. And you go, no, I don't want them here. And they go, oh, you're terrible. You're racist. It's like, no, that kind of worked for the initial case that you talked about 20 years ago. But it's the proverbial give them an inch, they'll take a mile when you talk to liberals. They just do not know when to stop. And I can't imagine they think it is a good thing to bring violent gang members into the country, to flood our country with millions upon millions of unvetted illegal aliens. And they talk about it like, no, it's the greatest thing. You're an idiot for not seeing how awesome this is for the country. You're the bad guy. And you might even occasionally go, because we have a sense of self. I think more people that can just Americans that appreciate this country and have any bit of intelligence actually do reflect sometimes. You do assess what's going on and you go, am I being the unreasonable person here? Am I being the bad guy? And you really look it over and go like, no, I just can't see it. And they will never do that. the left, the mental patients, they will never self-assess and go like, maybe we're being ridiculous and we shouldn't want and clamor to have violent gang members stay in the country. So I don't know. Brainwashing? Is it an amazing level of brainwashing? Mind control. That's what it is. They're affected by the HARP machine. I don't know, but it's insane. So a couple of people commented, of course, you got to get the senator from Wisconsin, because this is a Milwaukee judge. She put out a statement, Tammy Baldwin. In the United States, we have a system of checks and balances, a separation of power for damn good reason. Ooh. The president's administration arresting a sitting judge is a gravely serious and drastic move, and it threatens to breach those very separations of power. Make no mistake. We do not have kings in this country, and we are a democracy governed by laws that everyone must abide by. Yeah, you're saying it right there, dummy. Everyone must abide. By relentlessly attacking the judicial system, flouting court orders, and arresting a sitting judge, the president is putting those basic democratic values that Wisconsinites hold dear. While details of this exact case remain minimal, that's her out, by the way. That's her out. While they remain minimal, so I'm talking out of my backside here. This action fits into the deeply concerning pattern of the president's lawless behavior and undermining courts and Congress checks on his power. So again, I don't know, maybe now she's just blathering on because she doesn't like Trump, and she won't really take a stand on this case because, yeah, this judge broke the law. Checks and balances. Yuck. Here's Bernie. Bernie Sanders had a little statement today. Bernie Sanders. Trump administration. This morning, President Trump directed the FBI to arrest trial court judge Hannah Dugan in Milwaukee. She's being charged with obstructing law enforcement, a federal crime. Let's be clear. Trump's arrest of Judge Dugan in Milwaukee has nothing to do with immigration. It has everything to do with moving this country towards authoritarianism. He is illegally usurping congressional powers. He is suing media that he dislikes. No, he's suing the media that is slandering him. Slander and libel, not protected by the First Amendment. Even the media. And they lie about him. Oh, my God. He is intimidating major law firms who have opposed him. He is ignoring a 9-0 Supreme Court decision to bring Cumia Abrego Garcia back from El Salvador. He can't bring him back. El Salvador has him. He's a criminal there. He's in prison. The president of El Salvador said, no, we're keeping him. Sorry. That's how it goes. He is threatening to impeach judges who rule against him. No, who rule against the law. You can't just have a judge make a ruling that is against the laws of this country. They don't write the laws. The legislature does. And when a law is written and a judge makes a decision that is against those laws, that's grounds for some type of admonishment. Trump's latest attack on the and Judge Dugan is about one thing: unchecked power. He will attack and undermine any institution that stands in his way. Trump continues to demonstrate that he doesn't believe in the Constitution and separation of powers or rule of law. He simply wants more power for himself. It's time for my colleagues in the Republican Party who believe in the Constitution to stand up to his growing authoritarianism. All right. Thanks, Bernie. Thank you, Bernie. They just keep talking about the law applies to everyone. No one's above the law. And what do? Try to make everyone else above the law. That's the problem here. People that aren't called to the carpet to answer for crimes. When people are called to the carpet, they get to present a defense. When you just let people go that are criminals, there's the problem. All right. We'll be back in a moment. Stick around. The Anthony Cumia Show.
Whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Yes, we're whipping out free speech. Whip them out. Oh, God, do I remember that like it was yesterday. 1,000 years ago yesterday. My God. Anthony Cumia Show. And a couple of other things I definitely want to discuss. Happened today. Not happened today, but the story came out today about that helicopter that crashed into the plane in D.C. It seems the military helicopter was not where it was supposed to be, and it crashed into a passenger jet, and it was tragedy. And I guess they've done some preliminary investigation and decided from the evidence that the female pilot did not listen to air traffic control, or the man co-pilot that was her instructor that was in this helicopter at the time. They were doing a evaluation of her. The instructor, the guy, is in there. She's at the controls, and he assesses how well or how poorly she is doing in the flight. And I guess crashing into another aircraft, when you're told to remain at a certain altitude and to take a certain course. I mean, I think she screwed up in every dimension possible. Altitude, heading. Yeah, all three dimensions she had wrong. It seems that helicopters on that route, it was anyway, they stopped doing it, a common military route for training flights and assessment flights and whatnot from these helicopters. You're supposed to stay at 200 feet. 200 feet. Then they bring the planes into the airport over 200 feet, and there's no way they can collide. It's very, very amazing, a simple kind of solution to having aircraft hit each other. So she was told to stay at 200 feet and to make a turn over the river to take her further away from the incoming aircraft that she eventually hit. She did neither of those things. She was above 300 feet and did not turn and went right into the passenger plane. And again, look, I think anyone can be qualified for certain jobs. Some jobs are just out of the reach of your normal person. A lot of sport jobs, football, baseball, basketball, those you can't just go, oh, I want to do that. And then you do it. There are certain physical attributes. Some things mentally you have to be amazing, a prodigy, for certain mathematics positions and whatnot. But when you are dealing with the aviation industry, to put programs like diversity, equity, and inclusion in place when the lives of people are relying on qualified employees, qualified pilots, ground crew, everyone, mechanics that work on these aircraft. These are all people that need to be qualified. No second guessing. And diversity, equity, and inclusion promotes unqualified people. We do not live in a country where racism and sexism is so crazy that people of color and women are banging on the doors of these industries to get jobs, and they're being turned away even though they're qualified. because of some racist that's running hiring at the company. This is not happening. There just aren't qualified people to go up and get these jobs. So with diversity, equity, and inclusion, when you say, no, we need to get more minorities and women into these positions, you have to lower the bar somewhere, or they would have been coming in anyway. That's the proof. The proof to not needing DEI is, well, why weren't they showing up anyway? If there's a qualified woman with every single bit of training and education that she needs, that held a job previously, did an amazing job, and she walks in and wants a job that you have available, you didn't give it to her because she's a woman, or she never came in? Because that's the only reason. So when you go to diversity, equity, and inclusion, now you're talking about people that aren't qualified, and they've lowered the bar and they're letting them in. You can never sell me that this isn't what's happening. I can never be convinced that DEI promotes unqualified people. And we are seeing the effects of it. Hopefully we don't have to see an astoundingly horrible tragedy. But, engines catching on fire at airports, you go, well, what does that have to do with DEI? It's not the pilot. It's not this, or it was a guy pilot. Yeah. Who's fixing the planes? When I looked at a Boeing ad and it said, we're hiring and we're looking for diversity. We're hoping to have a 70% diverse, staff by 2035. You're like, well, you're lowering the bar. Who's been coming in? Who's qualified? If you want minorities and women to be qualified enough to get the job, then you got to go way back to school, to discipline and achieving things, and not having DEI in schools either. You're just putting unqualified people in very, very dangerous jobs, and it's putting everyone in harm's way. So, all right, a couple of minutes and not even. We'll be right back with the Anthony Cumia program. Stay right there.
WABC. Whipping out free speech. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. 77 WABC.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it every Sunday. Let's talk to Sandra in New Jersey. Sandra, what's up?
Oh, good evening, Anthony. I'm listening to you. You're very, very intelligent, and you cover a lot of good things. Yeah, I really think that.
Oh,
you're welcome.
Thank you.
I was going to talk about the judges and all that, but I wanted to make a comment about the DEI and the Federal Aviation Administration. And listen to this. In 2014, they replaced its merit-based selection with a biographical questionnaire, and it was designed to benefit certain racial groups rather than what you did by merit. And that goes way back to 2014. And it's very, very scary when you think of all these accidents that recently happened with the helicopters and with the planes. It's serious.
Yeah.
My friend just flew to Japan today, and I knocked on her door and I said, I wish you a very safe flight. And I mean it, because I worry about all this stuff.
It's DEI it's very it's scary because look, most of us anyway, we all fly, we all take it, and for years, for decade upon decade, air travel has gotten safer and safer over the course of the years. And it's only because of the qualification of the people involved. When an accident happens, the NTSB gets involved, the airline company gets involved. The builder of the aircraft gets involved, and they look and go, what went wrong? And how the hell do we fix it so it never happens again? And it's horrible that sacrifices had to be made to make it safer. But thank God those lives weren't lost in vain. And somewhere in the past 10 or so dozen years, we've decided to go backwards with this. Instead of getting safer, why do we want to take that back and put people that aren't qualified into some of these positions? And if you talk about it, again, to a liberal or these Democrats, they'll make it sound like you are racist and you're against people that are qualified getting jobs. No, I'm not against qualified people getting any job. I don't care where they come from. But you're lowering the bar. There's proof of it, and we see it.
I agree with you, Anthony, 100%. Yep.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your nice words. Sandra's very sweet. She calls us every so often here. How about Aaron? Aaron, Indiana. What's up, my friend?
Hey, Ant. Great to talk to you, man. Love you. Love the show. Been a fan for many years. So before I get to my topic, just want to say we're really excited. You're going to have little Jimmy Norton and Yuckmouth on. That's going to be an awesome show.
And Voss on May 25th, live in the studio. That should be a lot of fun. Thanks.
Oh, it's going to be awesome to hear you guys rant back and forth. Hey, so Putin and Trump came up with some sort of peace deal earlier today that they've kind of chivied by our favorite sweatshirt wearing football.
Zelensky.
He said he's not going to go along with any of it, and he refuses to give up Kyiv. And I just wanted to get your opinion on that whole situation.
Wow. Yeah, this is obviously a tough one. I think Zelensky might be enjoying his position. It's terrible to say because you don't want to think a leader of a country will just sit back and enjoy the notoriety. I mean, he was an entertainer. People have said this about Trump, the narcissism. He was an entertainer. He just wants, it's all about him. Well, there are countrymen, Ukrainians, dying in a war. And it seems like the leader isn't really focused on stopping the war, even if the opponent, the aggressor in the first place, Russia and Putin, wants to say, hey, can we at least talk? A ceasefire would be amazing. Like, can we just stop shooting at each other for 10 minutes and maybe figure out what color the seats should be at a peace conference? Anything.
He's just a professional grifter. It's
very sad to think that he's not a leader. He's not a guy that cares about his people. And that isn't me saying, because you say this and they go, hey, Putin, what's wrong with you? You're glazing Putin. I'm like, no, but I'll give this. Putin's a very experienced leader. The guy has been in there for a long time. He knows Russia. He knows world politics. And, he at least makes it seem like he's a little tired of this and wants it to end. I don't think it does Russia.
He doesn't look like a homeless jamoke at events like the Pope's funeral.
True. Yeah, I don't think Putin wants this to continue. It doesn't. It's not a good look for Russia. This war never has been. But it's been such a money pit for the United States, and who's basking in the gold. The gold doubloons, but Zelensky, we've been paying him off. All the other countries are still paying him. And, at some point, I guess it'll end and he'll be able to go into exile somewhere when his people want to kill him. But he'll have plenty of money when he does it. I don't see him as a viable leader. I think he's very detrimental to his country and the absolute wrong leader to have in this war.
Yep, it's a scary situation. Thank you for taking my call, Ant. And we need more puppy pics on Twitter.
Yes, I will put more puppy pics on. Thank you, bro. Yeah. It's such a, I don't know. It's a strange situation because we're so far away. We only get to hear and see what people want us to hear and see. You want it to end, even though we all like watching some good war footage, but for the love of God, those are people and they're dying in horrific ways. You want it to end, but, no one could seem to get their foot in the door of a peace process. You say one thing and people call you a puppet of Putin, and you say the other thing and then people are going, oh, this is Zelensky grifter. And so what do? As I see it, one party here, Putin, at least wants to talk about peace. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who am I? I'm just a former shock jock doing a radio show here. See? Look at this. See? Right away. Elena from New Jersey strongly disagrees with me. Elena, how are you?
Hello, Mr. Cunha. I strongly disagree. Am I on the air with Mr.
You are
Cunha?
on the air right now with Mr. Cunha. How are you?
Oh, my dear. Okay. Very well. And I just heard some heartfelt talk.
Uh-oh. You don't agree, huh?
Well, you're 100% right. Mr. Putin is very intelligent. He's a downright KGB man. They don't take stupid people.
That's right. But
Mr. Zelensky is not enjoying this war. His people are dying. His soldiers are dying. And, this wise, brilliant KGB communist attacked Ukraine. And what is Ukraine supposed to do? End the war because the Russians want to take its territory?
Well, I understand what you're saying, Elena. I see this and I understand that, yes, he was the aggressor. He came in. Now, we could also talk for hours on end about what led him to want to do that. The annexation of Russian territory that he still feels is due Russia. But I'm not even going to get into that.
I'm glad you're not going to get into it because Russia rewrote its history way back to KU when it didn't even exist as a country of Muscovy or Suzdal. There was no Russia.
But Elena, then we could also get into the fact that there was a promise made that NATO would not try to encroach upon Russian territory. But I'm not even going to get into that.
We're not going to go there. Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Even going to go there. What I'm going to get into with you, my dear, is that the war is on right now.
Yeah.
And someone needs to stop it. And Zelensky, I said he doesn't seem like he wants it to stop.
Oh, he does.
But you have to at some point look and say, is there any way we can win this? Or do I continue sending my countrymen into a meat grinder? There's nothing in the foreseeable future, unless another country like America really gets involved, that concludes with Ukraine winning this war. Now, I'm sorry the aggressor was Russia, but sometimes you just gotta cut loose and go, we can't do this anymore. That's what wars do. Wars of attrition are very effective. One side just goes, we just can't do this anymore. And I think it's past the point where Zelensky should even have any hallucinations that his country is going to come out of this on top. And if you know you're not, then it's time to stop the killing as quickly as possible.
Well, I'll tell you what. Russia wants Ukraine's territory. It can give two darn coins about its soldiers or the Ukrainian soldiers.
Right.
All it wants is the territory for this grand old concept of Imperial Russia. That started way back with the Russian king.
Yeah, it's an old school.
Peter the Great wasn't so great. And neither was Catherine.
It's an old school ideology. I understand that.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's being done in 2025 right now, and it's being done. But that doesn't mean that some of the same rules don't apply to this archaic brand of warfare over on the continent. It's attrition. Like I said, it might not, the winner isn't always the most noble of people or countries. Yes, true. Russia invaded, but the leader of a beaten nation has to at some point realize they are not going to win and try to get out of it with the least damage possible. And I do not see Zelensky even trying.
Oh, no, they are trying. That's why they're still fighting. They want to protect as much of their territory as they can. And Putin wants to take as much of the territory as they can.
I understand that. And that's why I just said, that's what these wars are. And especially, many, many years ago, this is all wars was a country going, we want more land. Let's go into this country and try to take some, and the imperialism, the conquest, all that stuff. But even then, the losing country knew at some point, well, I guess we're going to have to make some concessions. We lost. Don't people understand winning and losing anymore? Even in war? Like, yeah, Putin, what a piece of garbage. He did this, but you're losing. You lost. You might have to make some concessions you're not happy with. That's how I see it anyway, Elena. But I thank you for your call.
My pleasure.
I appreciate. Yes, please.
I do listen to your show. I like your show.
Thank you.
And I'm enjoying it, but I am in total, at least about out of it. That's bad grammar. I am totally trying to explain that you will defend your property.
Yes, of course.
You will not let anybody move into your house because they want a few rooms in there because they want them.
You're right. But if 5 people with guns come in and I'm here with a pea shooter, I have to realize at some point that I might have to make some concessions. That's what I'm saying.
Or you may call the police. Or you may try to do something to protect your integrity, your property,
There's a line,
yourself.
There's a line where you got to realize it needs to stop, and maybe I have to look in a different direction to end this. That's all. Elena, thank you so much. I appreciate your call. There she goes. Just arguing with some broads tonight, huh? That's what I say. Funny story. This one, I love Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff got his luggage stolen in San Francisco. I got my luggage stolen. He was in San Francisco, and he got his luggage stolen. And then he talks about how the Democrats need to work on crime. This is insanity. Who do they think has been screaming at them for decades about stuff like this? Why does Adam Schiff think the idea of Democrats maybe doing something about the unbelievable levels of crime in their districts and their cities and states? He thinks we haven't seen this. We haven't seen the street takeovers in Oakland. And the fact that everything has to be locked up in just about every major city in this country. I just saw a new system for locking up meat. Yes, meat. Steaks. They put them in like it's made of chicken wire, it looks like. And it's like a bag made of chicken wire. And you put it in there and you seal the top with one of those things that beep when you walk out of the store with it. Meat. Everything is locked up. And then Democrats will walk into these stores and look around and go, what's the problem? Why do we need to live with this? And well, you don't want to address the problem. How about responsibility of actions on the part of the criminals? How about making sure these judges do their job and try and convict criminals, not let them out on no bail to do it again and again and again until they do something even more serious, and then maybe they'll see a little time. Lock them up now. How about security at the stores that are allowed to beat the crap out of some of these people? And then their cases aren't entertained. Their civil cases aren't entertained in a court because judges and lawyers are scum of the earth and will take these cases and entertain them. When a guy is going into a store and he's leaving with an arm full of goods and someone trips him and he hits his head and now you're getting sued. We can't entertain those cases. These are all ways that will remedy the problem, where we don't have to have every single thing locked up in stationery stores and pharmacies, grocery stores. It's pathetic that we have to live like this. Pathetic. And then Adam Schiff an unbelievable lefty piece of garbage. He gets on and talks about his luggage getting stolen in San Francisco. San Francisco is abominable. And it's known for this. You can't park your car, leave it anywhere in San Francisco, and not have your windows busted if you have a suitcase in there, a briefcase, or sometimes nothing. They'll just break your windows. But I'm glad when it happens to these people because maybe just for vengeance. They never learn. Adam Schiff isn't going to go, oh, look at that. Look, my car was broken into. Maybe we should do something. But then they talk about it. Like, oh, crime? Well, I guess maybe we should. Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you should have done it decades ago. Here's a clip. It's Adam Schiff talking about getting his luggage stolen and how, this crime, came out of nowhere. Maybe we need to do something. Listen to Adam here.
So we're going to change how we do business in California. We're going to have to address people's legitimate concerns about crime. I was in South San Francisco 2 years ago after I had an experience in the city that all too many people had when my luggage was stolen out of my car. They tell you don't ever leave your luggage in the car. I never do until the one time I did. And of course, it got stolen. And what was most memorable about the experience for me is I went to this Target in South San Francisco, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm getting the toiletries I'm going to need for my next 2 days in the city. I get to the cashier.
You went there by yourself, not an assistant.
I think I went there. Well, yes, I had somebody drop me off at the store. And so I did
an assistant.
I don't need to make that an issue. Actually, I waited somewhere I should not have waited.
First of all, I had to get the clerk, which is hard to find, to unlock the shampoo or the whatever. So that's one thing. And then I get to the cashier. The cashier asked me if I want one of those Target bags with a little bullseye on it. And I said, yes, that Target bag is going to be my luggage for the next 2 days. And she asked me what happened, and I told her. And she basically said, in not so many words, yeah, Democrats are assholes. And I thought, if the cashier in South San Francisco at 10 o'clock at night believes that Democrats are assholes because the shampoo is locked up and my stuff got stolen out of the trunk, we've got a major problem that we have to address. And I think that's an awesome
Applause. Again, the audience is on like Jimmy Kimmel and Jon Stewart and The View. There should be a ramp like they have at slaughterhouses. So when they leave, they don't go out to the parking lot or anything. They're just run through the same process that cattle are run through at some of these meat plants because they applaud this guy. He's the reason why his luggage got stolen. He's the reason why everything's locked up. He's the reason why the clerk called him what she called him. How do you applaud that? The audience should have been yelling, it's you. You did this. We got to work on the crime. What do you honestly think the likes of Adam Schiff and company are going to do about crime? They see every single tough on crime policy as racist. They can't do anything about crime because their voter base are people of color. And since people of color seem to be involved in a lot of these crimes in a lot of these big cities, they don't want to do anything to upset them, like holding them responsible for committing crimes. But then he just sits there and gets applause for saying, yeah, maybe we are a-holes and should do something about this. Oh, God. I cannot stand these. Ugh. There was one more here. Let me see if I could find it. It was at the beginning. Oh, yeah, AOC. Another couple of Democrat idiots, imbeciles. And I have a theory about this, too. I think AOC and Bernie are running for president and vice president. Is that what I'm being led to believe? Is it going to be AOC president, Bernie vice, or the other way around? Because they're out there. This girl, this former bartender from Queens, Jenny from the block wannabe, she is all over the country. You don't travel the country and go to little states like Iowa and whatnot if you're just, a representative in Queens, New York. So she's obviously got her eye on bigger things. Oh, bigger. And she's going around with Bernie. They seem to be the latest political power couple on the left, which isn't saying much. But I think they're running this. Listen to this clip they put together. They put together like a promo, and it's AOC. She speaks a little, and then Bernie speaks, and there's a big crowd of the majority of the people they're talking to these days. Whenever Democrats go out to talk to people, whether it's that idiot Walls or any of them, they're speaking to boomers, mostly boomer women. It's a lot of these elderly white women that wear their gardening hats, and they're just applauding. They love this. They love it. No one with any sense is listening to them. So here's AOC and Bernie. Let's listen to this clip of them. It's a promo for a presidential run. Oh, you don't have this one? Oh, damn. I just had, boy, they've been getting rid of a lot of these clips. Wow. It's like a popular, it wasn't even like a meme or anything. She says, did I send it to you? Maybe I didn't send it to you. Well, that would be tragic because it was a good one. She actually says Latina, like whether you're white, black, Latina. You know how AOC does that? All of a sudden, she goes from this New York bartender girl to Cheetah Rivera. She's clicking castanets, and and then Bernie talking about how they're going to solve the problems that are happening. Well, that's what Trump is doing, solving your problems, the problems you guys made. That's the issue. Why on earth would we want you back doing the same nonsense that put us into these positions? Doesn't it seem like when they talk, Democrats, when they say things, that it seems nostalgic at this point, like old? When you see some of these politicians talking about the border or trans rights, don't you look and go, yeah, we've moved on from that. We're done talking about that nonsense. We don't want to deal with it anymore. We got rid of it. Trump got, the trans rights in the military and the DEI stuff, and this every other month, the White House has to put a flag out or recognize this. I hear Trump is bringing back Columbus Day. In this house, Columbus is a hero. Christopher Columbus discovered America. That's right. He could bring back Columbus Day instead of Indigenous People Day. We've had all these things taken away, and I'm sure eventually more Democrats will get in and they'll just screw it up again and take away Columbus Day, and we'll have to have transgender or drag queen story time for the kids. But the truth be told, it seems old now. It seems like people had it. But when you see AOC and Bernie up talking about how they want to fix things, we're still fixing it. You wrecked it. Like a woman drives a car, let's say, and rams into the curb and screws the whole front end up. And then the mechanic gets up and he's fixing it under there. And the woman comes in and goes, hey, well, I want to take care of that car. I'm going to fix it and make sure. He's like, no, we're still fixing your screw up. We don't need you. Please go away. Have some coffee. Make the men some coffee. We'll take another call. My throat is so screwed today. I think it's the pollen here in South Carolina. It's crazy. And the dog, I think the dog fur has really gotten in my throat. Every so often it just cuts out. But my instrument, man, it's my instrument. Here's Jim from upstate New York. Doesn't want to really give his location. He's upstate. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Anthony. Yeah, I talked to you last week about the non-domicile CDL program.
Oh,
yes. In the Catskills, actually.
Oh, nice. Mount Airy Lodge.
Yeah, no, that's the Poconos.
All right, whatever, Jim.
Close.
What's up?
I used to live in the Poconos. Poconos are ruined, too. Poconos are like Newark East, West now.
Oh, jeez. Wasn't the Action Park in the Poconos? Action Park, right?
They got a lot of water parks up there. But what happened was there was a lot of vacant homes, like vacation homes that were built that went vacant. And then they started putting Section 8 in them.
Oh, great. Always good.
And then people started moving out of the projects in Newark and Harlem, and they're living up in the vacation homes up in the Poconos on Section 8. Where would you rather live? In Harlem in a tenement, wiping the roaches off your face in the morning, or in a vacation house up in the Poconos?
A resort here in the Poconos. It's beautiful.
And I bought a house in the dead of winter, not knowing that. And then come summertime, the pool looks like the Newark public pool.
Yeah.
I'm not a racist guy. I'm not. I just don't like my house getting robbed.
Of course not. I hear you. No, it's not racist to not want to be robbed or have your house broken into, or
house got broken into when I wasn't there, and then they tried breaking into it when I was there because my car was in the shop, and they tried jimmy and open my sliding glass doors on my deck.
Yeah,
and I seen
they'll do that.
Two guys running into the woods that didn't look like me. You know what I mean? But anyway,
yes, Jim.
I called initially about the DEI, and it's just rampant. I mean, I got a lot of friends that are, cops, retired cops.
Sure.
But they're, and I know it's hard after Black Lives Matter riots, to get cops and disrespect. But they're like hiring anybody to be state police now. Like any ethnicity, short, fat, you know what I mean, tiny. I talked to a state trooper on the thruway at a rest area. This guy was literally 5 feet tall, fat.
Yeah.
Big, thick glasses, cross-eyed with an African accent with a lisp. I mean, what else can you check off?
Yeah, what else can you check off? You see the videos, Jim. It's astounding because they are incapable of doing the job. Like they need a real cop to come over to assist them when they try to make an arrest or get control of a situation. So what good is it if you need a real cop to help you for you to be on the job? You're wasting space. You're wasting a job that one of these real cops could have where you wouldn't need two guys.
State police used to look like Dudley Do-Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, when you see two cops at night, they'll ride two cops at night because it's dangerous. When you see two in the daytime, they're usually training one. You know what I mean? Because usually they run single in a car. But they're all like, little fat black women, little fat, Spanish women, skinny little Filipino guys. I had a guy who was literally 100 pounds, 5 foot tall, pull me over. He's a Filipino state trooper. I was like, I'm not paying this 100-something grand a year and a big fat pension to protect me and my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a 5'8" white guy. I can't be an NBA star just because I want to be. You know what I mean? I'm like
the mistake they make is that, look, me and you and most people respect the law. We respect the uniform, the car, the person in it to an extent. But the people that do not respect the law are not going to not attack a cop or fight a cop just because they understand it's illegal to do it. They're going to look at a slight woman or a small guy or a big fat woman that can't even run, and they're just going to take advantage of that weakness in that they don't respect them. So what good does it do? They seem to think everyone just sees the uniform and goes, oh, well, I guess I better get in line here and let this rotund Hispanic woman teach me a lesson. But It's not the case. That's why a lot of people are put in danger. It's, again, another thing where their lives are put in danger by thinking you can have these people that are not qualified to be cops on any force.
Right. And real quick about AOC, too. I read an article about her. She's like a manufactured entity.
Oh, yeah.
There was this wealthy Indian tech guy who wanted to primary the guy who had the position before her, the incumbent. And he put out like this casting call. Hundreds of people answered. She picked her.
Wow.
And then she won. And he was so influential with her initial decisions. She had to technically fire him because it was too obvious he was calling the shots. And now with this Green New Deal, that's like a playbook from the Chinese communist government that deballed our power with our natural gas and energy, make us dependent on everything electric and no gas drilling. It was like, where's the dark money coming to fund these people?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where's the dark money that, the squad, you know what I mean? There's dark money behind them to upend this country that people don't realize. They think they're just fighting for the common man and this and that, and they're not.
No.
And it's obvious. With the Ukrainian war, real quick, that's such a complicated issue. We had a weak, corrupt moron in here that Putin played like a fiddle. Well, he gave Putin the signs to go. First of all, he set Putin's hairs up on his neck when he was talking about letting Ukraine get into NATO.
Yeah,
that's when Putin started forming the troops on their border.
Yep.
And then Biden says, well, if it's just a small incursion, that was the go word. That was the go word. And now you got this corrupt ex-comic, president. Not only one of his right-hand men, Zelensky, was on the board of Burisma with Hunter Biden.
Yeah, that's the Hunter Biden and the money that was exchanged.
Right.
Yeah, of course. It's all a criminal enterprise. Yep.
I have a friend who's Ukrainian, and his family left there. They had a business there. He said it's the most corrupt society you could possibly imagine. You got to pay everybody off. People religiously. I mean, they tape each other's phone calls in case they have to use it against them. It's a blackmail thing.
Amazing.
It's a horrible thing what happened there, but so much money is getting stolen. Yeah. Billions of dollars are getting stolen. You hear these rumors of like Zelensky's wife going on a $500,000 shopping spree in Paris.
They think
he's
it's
buying mansions through other people in the United States. I wish Trump would claw this money back.
If he tries, they'll call him Putin's puppet, and that's just it's what they've done. Jim, I got to go, but thank you for the call, man.
Thanks, Andy. Take care.
Good job, my friend. Yeah, it's true though. It's a cluster F is what they call it. F being, that word. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back with the Anthony Cumia Show.
Radio 77. WABC. It's the Anthony Cumia Show. 77 WABC.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Another call here. Jacqueline from Brooklyn. What's up?
Hey, Anthony. You brought up AOC a moment ago, and I have something to say about her. I don't understand, number one, how she got reelected. And number two, I also heard on one of the sound bites in between the shows, not just before your show, but earlier, saying that Republicans are now supporting her the highest among any other elected official, 23%, 25%. Now, you tell me, are these Republicans out of their mind? Yeah. And is this poll accurate? Because personally, I don't believe in polls.
Yeah.
So how did she get reelected? And that kind of snowballs with regard to Andrew Cuomo. How do these polls show him ahead of everyone at 60%? Do they forget that he's the one who killed thousands of people, including both my parents, in the nursing home debacle? And he's the one that we have to thank for congestion pricing, and to thank, you were talking about all these criminals locking up the toothpaste, this poor guy who got his luggage stolen, to thank him, his brainchild was no cash bail.
Yeah, bail reform, they call it.
Bail reform. Yeah. There's two other things. He is the one, when his father was running against Koch for political office. He's the one that came up with the slogan, vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
Right,
and
I remember that.
I hope the LGBTQ plus elemental P community remembers that when it comes time to going to the polls to vote for him, because he doesn't have their back. He never did. He doesn't support them. He's not in favor of them.
Jacqueline, let me tell you, New York. That's my answer to what you're saying. It's New York. I used to live there. You live in Brooklyn. AOC won because New York will vote these idiots into office time and time and time again. Regardless, they could see the damage that is done every time they vote one of these morons in, and they don't seem to care. That's what I don't get. There seems to be so many people I talk to that don't like it. They want it changed. They don't like who was elected. Yet every single time, and by the way, they don't squeak by. They blow the election out of the water, and they win with amazing numbers. Schumer's holding the office like a pope. AOC, she'll be elected every time. New York is an amazing state and city, especially when it comes to electing incompetent morons.
But I think a big part of the blame deserves to go to the Republicans, the conservatives, the independents, and the Democrats who really are common sense, old-time Democrats. They stay home. They listen to these polls. They hear that Cuomo's leading at 60%. They say, why should I bother to go out and vote? In the meanwhile, it's the most important time for every single one of those registered voters to get out and vote and make a very clear statement against him and against all of these other politicians who care only about their own best interests, not about the people of the city of New York.
But you know he's probably going to win, right? You know this.
I say if Curtis plays his cards right and he can cross party lines and he can motivate people to get out and vote, he's got the best chance that he ever had. And
I love Curtis. And I think he would make a really good mayor. He knows New York. He's been here forever. He has the experience of an on the street New York guy, not this professional politician kind of guy. But money's a big issue. We all know that.
Right.
And Cuomo's ability to just smear him, make him look bad, whatever it is, that's what they do.
I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
I've got another question for you. Letitia James is the one that led the race to get him out, to put Cuomo out of office.
Right.
So how come, if he was unfit to be governor, she's silent? I haven't heard a peep out of her. Is he now all of a sudden qualified to be mayor of New York City? How come she's not up on her soapbox the way she was when she tried to get him out of the governor's office?
Well, maybe she's got other things to worry about, like some fraud, mortgage fraud, and other things that hopefully we see some kind of indictment come down for Letitia. But it doesn't matter. Nothing makes sense at face value with these people, because right behind the scenes, there's money going back and forth, favors, cronyism. It's also, she could be, oh, this guy needs to go. He killed a bunch of people and he's sexually harassing women and then just saying he's Italian. Yeah. And then she's clamoring to get him out. And now she's fine with it because people came to her and said, look, you don't have to cheer him on, but don't you say anything bad. And she goes, well, what's in it for me? And then she gets a little something.
There you go.
Yeah.
People need to wake up.
Wake up.
Welcome to Alice in Wonderland's world.
Yep. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, she goes, Jacqueline. My little caller friends. I remember when I used to listen to the AM radio in the car with my dad. And you'd listen and the host would take a call, like Bob Grant. And he'd be like, oh, I know this guy. And then him and Bob would talk like friends because he knows him from the phone. I don't know how the hell I ended up here, but it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool indeed. Well, Letitia James, you're talking about her. There's Jasmine Crockett. as you know. Jasmine Crockett she's been bad-mouthing the United States of America, bad-mouthing Donald Trump, and of course Elon Musk. And to have this woman, she's a wannabe gangster, which is hilarious. When you hear her speak years ago, when she got out of college and was pursuing a career in the law, she sounded amazing, very articulate. She wasn't using slang terms. She certainly wasn't using an urban vernacular. She was very coherent. Well, nowadays, she's like, she got to throw a little inner city slang in there and kind of sound more black, I guess. She was on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. That is where blithering idiots collect and speak of complete nonsense. Jimmy Kimmel. So Jasmine Crockett went on the show, and she's calling Elon Musk an idiot. Now, you might not like Elon, but idiot, really? Have you looked around? So listen to Jasmine talking about Elon.
Level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible. It is so bad. And when you bring up the idiot known as Elon Musk, he is not only like very sinister and has no idea what he's doing, and people are like, oh no, he absolutely knows because he's the richest man in the world. Like, yes, he knows how to hire smart people, but don't conflate that and believe that he is the genius, because he ain't.
Woo! Another audience that needs the ramp and the conveyor belt and the spinning butcher's knives because I can't imagine those people are doing anything to better the country or the entire planet. The audience at Kimmel. So Jasmine Crockett calls Elon an idiot, says he doesn't know what he's doing. He's rich, but it's other people that made him rich, I guess. I don't know. You look at Apple and Steve Jobs, and you saw a visionary, a man who knew how to hire the right people, get an idea turned into reality. That iPhone, man, every so often I watch that keynote speech that he gave back in, I believe it was 2007, when the iPhone first came out. And it's just fun to watch. It's exciting. I know I'm a nerd. I get it. But it's exciting. And he had an idea, and he hired people that had ideas and solutions. And they got together and they worked at it and made this amazing device that everyone would turn around if you were 10 miles from your house on your way to work if you forgot it at home. Elon is very similar to Steve Jobs in that respect with Tesla. He's an idea guy. He gets these, he can imagine that there is a viable car that runs on electricity. It's not just some weird device that no one would use, but look, we got a prototype or something. It's amazing. SpaceX. Hey, we're going to put things in space. What? The government does that. Private companies don't put things in space. We want to do it. Let me hire the right people and we'll figure out how to do it. We're going to recover booster rockets. They're going to miraculously land where they took off from. Just astounding. Starlink. How many government agencies, our own, by the way, here in the United States, but in the world, how many? We're talking about high-speed internet access everywhere on Earth. Starlink and Elon did that. And you could be in the middle of the Sahara Desert right now and get high-speed internet access. But Jasmine Crockett calls him an idiot, and the sheep, the cashew brained morons applaud this woman. for calling him an idiot. It's embarrassing. And this is your go-to? I have a theory about this. I do believe that that the real Democrats, not even good ones, I mean, just the ones that are really in power, the ones that make the decisions, who's going to get the Democratic nod for president and who's going to get this job and that committee member, those people, they are letting these idiots run amok during the early and even most of, I think, the Trump administration. You're going to see people like Jasmine and Maxine and all the rest of these idiots that Presley, the bald-headed one. You're going to see them speaking out, going nuts, bringing up the same old stuff like the woman on the phone said, LGBTQ and all the nonsense that lost them the election. Those are the people you're going to see for quite some time. After a while, you're going to see sensible Democrats come out and start addressing America. And the sole purpose will be of these idiots speaking nonsense for maybe 3 years will be to make any Democrat that comes out and speaks reasonably seem like a moderate. If you listen to these idiots, imbeciles, spouting their nonsense, their anti-American, just non-constructive, just blather, and a couple of Democrats come out in a couple of years and start talking about real solutions, and they could even be technically liberal ideas, they will seem like a godsend to the Democrat Party. What? He's talking about really a way to maybe fight crime? They're talking about the border and maybe we do need to do this, and they have a plan, and meanwhile AOC's running around the country cackling. Jasmine Crockett is calling Elon Musk, one of the most brilliant people in our modern age, an idiot. Yeah. So that someone can come out and go, hey, people, maybe we should address this. And the country will go, oh, look at this guy. He's a Democrat. He sounds reasonable. It's forced perspective. If they give you enough of this nonsense, then anyone's going to seem much better than they would if they just came out in the first place without the huge distraction of idiocy. Anyway, all right, quick break, and we'll be right back to finish up with the Anthony Cumia Show.
See.
Welcome. Danke for tuning in tonight. I do appreciate it. And, talking about how, the mental patients on the left are going to somehow make any other Democrats seem moderate when they really put the serious people for president in 2028. Here's a great example. This is insane. This is somebody who believes there can be male lesbians. I'm not kidding. This is all over the place, too. You go to any social media platform, you will see the nose ring, the wild colored hair, the lip ring. There's just so many things where you look and know immediately you are going to hear some insanity, literal insanity. Somebody that is so out of whack. And this is what I think they're really pumping up to make any other Democrat that is even slightly reasonable seem like an amazing moderate that you would want to vote for. So check this clip out. It's a girl talking about male lesbianism. And tell me if you even can figure out what the hell this kook is talking about.
25 and people still don't believe that non-binary lesbians exist. It is 2025 and people still don't believe that you can be a non-binary lesbian and be assigned male at birth and be a valid lesbian. It is 2025 and people still don't believe that you can use he, him pronouns and identify as a lesbian.
Hey, I made a Venn diagram based off of this reel. Do you want to see it? Let's get started. Over here we have non-binary folks, and over here we have assigned male at birth, meaning they were born as men.
Enough. I can't even take it anymore. I can't even take it. And it's my show. This is what's out there. This is not just like they don't think they're crazy. And the people around them that they surround themselves with, maybe go to school with, they don't think they're crazy. They must talk. I'd love to kind of maybe be a fly on the wall, because there's part of me that thinks when they're all together alone, that they kind of laugh like it's a work, like everyone's in on it. But I know that's not true. They are truly damaged people. Did you see the latest thing on that UK Big Brother? It had what the hell's her stupid name? Jojo Siwa. That's it. She's like this wannabe rock girl thing, and she all of a sudden, because Mickey Rourke made fun of her on the TV show, the reality show, and some other guy came to her aid, she's decided she's not lesbian now. All it took was a guy to put his arm around her and go, hey, things aren't that bad. You're pretty. You're not this. You're not. She dropped lesbianism like a bad habit. I think so many of these younger people, especially, are brainwashed. They see it gives them attention. And it's with everything, not just lesbianism, all the lunatic stuff that the left has piled on these people to make them think they're whatever. Women, they think they're men. Men think they're women. Their stance on the border, whatever it is, they think they're normal. And we see what they are. Mentally deranged, broken people. And I really think the Democrats and the left are going to try their damnedest to just be rid of them. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. Now we're Democrats.